Prescott to show his greatness.
I truly believe Ezekiel Elliott returned.
Hey guys, welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and today we're going to discuss, well, the stuff that we were not going to cuss all over the internet about the other day and kind of get our venting moments now. And as I introduce, of course, everybody knows, Gametime Bryan. Welcome, Gametime Bryan.
Primetime Phil.
Yeah,
How's
man.
everybody doing this evening? It's been rough. It's been a rough couple days.
It has, man. Like, if I was to come out the night of, I was going to say that the season was basically over. That, because I felt like with Dak Prescott being out, in general, that this team wasn't going to be the same because obviously we couldn't figure out our backup quarterback. So as I'm jumping right in there, my emotions were very high. Now, obviously, a day or two goes by. You hear a little bit of news. You hear Jerry trying to Pinocchio his way out of the situation, so that way the front seats of the Dallas Cowboys will actually be worth something instead of some ticket sale at some restaurant.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
So how are you feeling, Brian? How are you feeling now compared to then?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I was really deflated yesterday, big time. I was, we live streamed all day on Sunday. There was at one point we had like 2,100 people in the stream, and the worse the game got, the more the trolls came in, and it just mounted and mounted. I'm just disappointed. And then to add insult to injury, Dak gets hurt. And he got hurt at a time in the game where I can't blame him for being in there, only because they've had hardly any success. So I was happy with him being in there to try and get some kind of momentum going into this week's game. Yeah. And then he hits his hand on the helmet. Just not happy. He had a horrible game leading up to that. I'm a Dak guy. I'm not gonna abandon Dak. But let's be honest. I don't know what the issue was. And in the back of my mind, I'm hearing, well, the foot. He felt a pop a couple days ago. Didn't seem like he was throwing on balance. It just didn't look good, Phil. And
I agree.
Like we've seen it.
When I was watching the game in general, right off the bat, I thought the offensive line held up. There were some spots, obviously, once Fournette came in, he allowed some pressures and everything as well. But for the most part, the offensive line did somewhat hold up. The running game did look good. We abandoned it extremely quickly. I think that's what a lot of Cowboy fans would definitely agree on. Zeke running over 5 yards a carry. Why the hell are we getting away from it? Especially since we're not getting any kind of momentum. Dak's not on the rhythm. You can tell he's off. And so when I was tweeting, I was saying that Kellen Moore can't change. I mean, he hasn't changed. I think what you were saying that basically they were running the exact same defense, because they were running. They knew what they were going to run.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was scary to hear Tampa Bay say what they said. Devin White came out and said they knew Dallas was going to have a game plan based off of last year's game. Mm-hmm. Come on, Kellen Moore. You're not better than that. You can't come up with something new. You're going to come up with Mickey Mouse reverses.
Oh my God! I mean, here's the thing that really gets me about Kellen Moore in that. And I'm with the link. Link says no QB in history made the Super Bowl run with no weapons. Now, it's hard to disagree with him. Now, whether we have weapons or not, and Dak just couldn't get him the ball, and Kellen Moore's game plan's out the window. I look at the first drive. Okay, so let's say you're not getting anything going, third quarter. You pulled out a reverse, you triple reverse, whatever. But the fact that these were on the first drive tells you that it was part of the game plan, So
yeah,
I think that's what bothers me the most about that is that it's part of his game plan. Like, go ahead.
And I don't mind a reverse. I don't mind a reverse. It serves a purpose. I don't mind you doing one in the first half and then coming back in the second half. I don't mind. But I think it was back-to-back drives. Mm-hmm. It was embarrassing. But, I just don't know, what Kellen Moore is thinking. Zeke's averaging over 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
We were in the game, like my final score here was 30-19. I had the 19 right and I had the 3 right. I just didn't have the 0 for 30. It was kind of the game I thought that we were going to hold Tampa Bay to.
Yeah.
You can't stop them. You cannot stop them. But it's exactly what I thought.
The defense did it, though. The defense was doing really well for what the positions and how long they were being put out there. So,
and that one touchdown pass is almost impossible to stop. You throw it to the big boy, number 13 there on Tampa Bay. It's hard to stop that. That was in a perfect spot. So you can't blame Diggs on that. I mean, that happens. Bottom line is we gave up 19 points. The scary part is that outside of because, I was over at Mark's and I don't know who said it, whether it was DMV or he said, the first drive, they went right down the field, meaning Dallas. I'm like, yeah, but that's also scripted. When you start getting past the first 10 plays away from the script and you're calling, out of your play sheet and you're dialing that up. I didn't see but 3 12 personnel plays run the whole game. 3. There was only 3 times where they ran 12 personnel.
Let's jump to the chat.
You would have thought
quick, as we bring these guys up. We got I Love Weed.
Roland's
review. I appreciate you guys coming through. We had very early in here Angelica Baron. She was holding
What's
it
up,
down.
Angelica?
And then of course Link dropping some knowledge inside the chat here. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty bad. I was going against. Now, when I was looking at the fantasy, let's go on to a cheerful thing for a second as we come back and wallow in our own misery. I saw that you barely beat Mark's team on the fantasy.
Yeah, well,
by point something. Was like, wow.
Well, it may be Mark's team, but it's definitely in name only.
Yeah, exactly.
I was watching the game, and my son was saying, because he's in he has a fantasy, and he was blowing his guy out. I'm like, yeah, I'm up by whatever it was, but I'm not used to doing PPR.
Yeah.
And he had 3 guys going last night. I'm like, it seemed like, I mean, every catch was like 3 points because you get a catch for PPR, you
I
get maybe
had
yardage.
I needed basically that fumble from Gordon last night on the goal line where he was like maybe a touchdown, maybe a fumble. I needed that
wasn't
touchdown.
even thinking, yeah.
I needed that touchdown. If I did it, because I was like, no, you can't do that to me.
Yeah, that's what I hate about fantasy. Oh, geez, thank God there's no money on it. It's just for fun. But
awesome. Yeah, exactly.
Link Kellen to get his plays from Madden. You know what, man? I think I could do a better job calling plays than he did. You know,
that's the problem.
That was horrible, man.
He understands. He could probably whip out a play in the annexation of Puerto Rico, but he just doesn't know when to do it. You know, it's just kind of embarrassing to watch a little bit. So, and obviously you can't get a game plan going as well if your quarterback's not on rhythm. And then when you see Cooper Rush come in, you know, okay, there's maybe a little bit more yardage. And so, I mean, I would think that he'd be able to do a little bit something just because he's trying to just run the offense. He's a game manager.
Yeah.
But he's not going to, you know, light it up like a Will Greer. And, you know, Will Greer's going to have his possible interceptions because he's a gunslinger and he likes to run. So, I mean, you have your, you know, your weighing options. I hear all over the media, obviously, that Jimmy G, you know, I laugh because it's like, Trey Lance just had
that's never going to happen.
A great weekend, obviously, in the rain, but they're just so happy at what they re-signed him as a backup. So I would keep him.
The Niners, of course, he's available for an overpriced. Number one, he would never want to come here. He's not ever has a chance. He does not have a chance to start here. He doesn't. So why? It's just stupid. That just goes to show you that the media is just trolling. It was never happening. It was never going to happen.
It's like when I see the whole Minshew being brought up. I'm like, really? Because the Eagles are just going to be like, oh,
yeah, exactly. But listen, I will say this: as ugly as the game was, and you know,
there's a bright side.
There's always a bright side. That defense is gonna. I mean, you could say what you want about Tampa. Their offensive line looked half decent. And
there was a lot of holding.
Team.
There was a lot of holding on Parsons, and I don't blame them. Parsons is a beast, and so I get past it because there wasn't a whole lot.
It needs to be called.
There was, exactly. And if it's going to work on both sides, if you're going to call it on there, you got to call it on the other side, and that's why I didn't mind it as much because it was like, all right, you just got to deal with it during games in general. So, I mean, just kind of try to push past it.
And that's not what made them lose.
No, exactly. And so it was definitely a lot of the play calling and a lot of just the execution by the quarterback. And you knew, and to me, I'm one of those guys. I see a lot of people, and this is what I don't like, is the people that come out now of the woodworks and is like, I told these Dak believers that he's not a number, you know, in the playoff. This is what you're waiting for.
Yes.
This is the part when you smile for your Dallas Cowboys is when I was right and I can prove on the forums that I was talking right. Because Dak can have 4 or 5 years that are MVP performances, but one game obviously backs their story of how he's just a terrible quarterback. And I mean,
I'm
not
listen, I'm
thinking
well
he's
enough to know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm well enough to say. You know, I'm honest enough to say he had a crappy game leading up to the injury, but I'm also going to tell you I have full faith that he's going to come back. You know, I don't know how he's going to be with the injury, but I mean, he was going to bounce back from that. We've seen it time and time again.
And that's the thing about it.
People forget that he was leading the MVP vote last year. So stop it. That's just haters. That's just trolls. And listen, we need them too, so that's fine. But it's all BS.
So I saw a lot of positives.
Comes back.
Even though at the moment I definitely didn't see the positives at the moment, but when you look outside of that quarterback play and obviously the play calling in that sense, there was a lot obviously there was a lot of offensive line. You know, the Tyler Smith looked really good
Yeah.
out there. It was really nice to see. Your defense obviously flying around the ball, and you got to imagine as well. Yeah, they weren't getting all these crazy turnovers like they do, but you also have to remember who they were going against, how he likes to get it out very quickly. You know, so the fact that you got the pressure for a person that it's hard to get pressure on, and even destroy you if you do. I mean, that was amazing. I was the fact that they kept stopping them, and I knew eventually they're not going to. And in that third quarter, when I saw them driving for that touchdown, it was just like, well, this is pretty much going to be game, the way that this offense is going. And then obviously
I thought Farniak did well too.
Yeah, there was some pressures allowed.
Did okay.
Yeah, I mean, there were some pressures there that he allowed, but I think it also, this one kind of silenced a lot of the Tony Pollard needs to be starting over Zeke people.
Wow.
And when you saw the 4 sacks, that there was Pollard right in the middle of them. So I mean, we all kind of saw that. I think it just backs up stuff. That doesn't mean he's not has his worth on this team. I mean, you put him on the slot, you put him all these in open field. Yes, it's just Kellen Moore, man. It's just
I love weed.
What is he in?
If we go 3-3 or even 3-4 without Dak, I think it's still in good shape.
I swear, look at that.
Yeah,
like,
that's
this
the
is
big
exactly
thing.
what I was writing on the next spot was how
that
backup quarterback.
I agree with that.
Yeah. If we can be 3-3,
Yeah.
3-4 in these next ones, obviously Jerry Jones is all, they're being back in 4 weeks, and you're like, yeah, okay, or whatever. You just don't want us to tune out, and I think,
listen, we got to. Being a Dallas Cowboy fan is, especially these days, is not easy, and we just have to you grin and bear it. It's not, and hopefully our team gets their act together. We know we got the talent. I think we have the talent. Even offensively, I think we have the talent. We have a lot of young guys. I don't know why they did this. I called this months ago.
Yeah.
That this was going to happen. But, I think we got to, get through the storm, and I think we're going to be okay. But we need to have better play calling because that was ass.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Justin Jefferson was ass, per Philly 500. Yeah, that
so
was ass.
I'm bringing in Cole's Cowboy. Welcome, Cole's, man. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the chat. As we get the bitch session in gear. Bitch session. Seashell, yeah. So yeah, we were right in the middle of talking about the game in general, the bads, the goods. We're trying to focus on some of the positives right now, but Cole, if you got some stuff that you want to talk about in this past game, you let us know, because right now that would be the time. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to hear. I want to hear a little bit because it was pissing me off.
Man, I did a whole live stream reaction to this game, man, and it was horrible, bro. It was like a whole roller coaster, of emotions that I was going through, and I'm like, okay. Clearly, they know we have to run the ball at this game. Like, it's no way they got to do the same thing that we did last year. And boom, in the first quarter, first series, I see Kellen Moore doing some reverse double reverse plays. Like, I was like, we were running the ball effectively with Zeke. We were moving the ball. And I was like, okay, we moving the ball. Mm-hmm. The defense, they started up a little rusty in the beginning, but towards the end, they started heating up. So I was pissed off with the play call. I didn't like how Dak Prescott played. If you know me, I'm a Dak Prescott fan through and through. Like, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just told Phil that.
Yeah.
I just told Phil. I said I'm the biggest Dak, and I mean I could say he was playing not well. Yeah. Like horribly, and then my mind started racing. Like, okay, we're hearing shit was popping in his foot on Thursday. Yeah. He didn't look like he had his footwork. He was just off. You could tell. But we've seen this before. It's not like he's a bad quarterback. We've seen him. He was like I was telling Phil. It was in the MVP lead at one point last year. Right. So I was worried about that. But but as a Dallas fan, I could say that and then still say that's my guy going forward. I don't know if you watched any of Mark's live. We streamed all day on Sunday. There was like over 2,000 people, and as the game got worse, dude. I was sitting like, I was maybe 8 feet away from. He has a big screen. I could not keep up with all the trolls, man. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I could not see it.
And I was live streaming when he was whenever
Jesus.
the game was going. So the trolls was coming to me too.
Yeah, they will. They will.
And that's fine.
It's fun. It's fun. I understand.
Yeah, we need the trolls, but they like to make blanket statements saying, "See, I told you, Dak sucks."
No. See, that's where you're like, come on,
stop it.
Yeah.
That's where you're going. And then all of a sudden you got this fake shit about us trading
we
for
jump
Jimmy
to the
G.
chat
That was
real
never
quick.
happening.
As we jump to the chat real quick, I'm with Mark Hutchton. He says, I'd rather have Will Greer. He's more mobile and have to do to the offensive line. I like Will Greer because he has just a little bit of fire.
What? You mean as a backup until Dak comes back? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'd rather play Will Greer than Cooper Rush, but
keep Cooper as the backup. Yeah. I think he's a good backup at all times. And if you have to have him for a game, then that's fine.
I think, but I'm jumping on like the CeeDee Lamb thing real quick.
Dude,
again, we
he's
all
my guy
is he
too.
number one?
I
was saying that I think he's a good number two. I haven't seen anything. I was really with the drops, and then I really wanted to believe because obviously, he had Ed in college, high school. I haven't seen it yet, and maybe it's just that the pressure's there. I know when he came out of college, he wanted his number. Jerry made him pick 88, so I don't know if that kind of just changed the dynamics. I'm not changing that. That changed his career, and now that's the reason why he dropped some passes. But there was times like when he was going over the middle, instead of catching it out there with his hands, he's trying to bring it to his body. So there was times where I questioned what he exactly was doing. But then again, there was a lot of times where I just thought Dak was off as well too. So I think it was a combination, and I've seen some people talk about the dynamics between those two. It's just something that you haven't seen. I mean, you've seen flashes of possibilities, but you haven't seen them, get on the same page. Like, for example, one thing that I noticed was with Dalton Schultz, it didn't matter if he was wide open or if he was covered by two people. Dak was throwing it, and there were some times where you're questioning whether it was going to be interception. So what do you guys think about the whole CeeDee Lamb and the number one receiver?
I want to hear what Cole's got.
Yeah, I feel like the offense altogether just wasn't on the same page. They came out there completely unprepared. CeeDee Lamb, he got to do better. I mean, we give him the pass, but the drops are still an issue. I'm from the old school. Whenever you touch the ball, you got to catch it. It's been plenty of catches. Passes that hit his hands. And he just, it slips right out like a hot dog, but hot dog going through a bun. And you know what I'm saying? He just looking crazy. So he has to catch the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he seems like a guy who needs to have the ball in his hands early. You don't have to do anything unbelievable. Just get him the ball. Just fucking go 2 yards, turn around, get him the ball. He just needs that because, and they did try and give him the ball. I'm not worried about him going forward. That's another guy. I'm not worried about him. Like everybody's talking about, he ain't number one. Listen, I've seen him make some unbelievable plays last year. Everybody in here has seen it. He has to grow up. Now he's the number one. He did make a business decision at least once. So that's an issue. But
this one I feel like.
But you remember, for what? Ricky Waters did the same thing, and it happens. It happens. He's still my guy. It's just a bad game.
In this game one, this is the first week. What I will say though is, I wish the Cowboys would have got a veteran wide receiver that don't have to be the number one. CeeDee Lamb can still be presented as the number one receiver. Just have somebody that can still complement him. Like a Jarvis Landry.
I wanted Jarvis Landry. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that made too much sense.
Exactly. If we would have got Jarvis Landry, he would not be viewed as the number one receiver. He'll be viewed as a featured guy for CeeDee Lamb. Help him grow along. You know what I'm saying?
Like a veteran presence. Now, I don't know if Washington's going to be able to do that. He's not that type, but we'll see. I think Gallup coming back is going to help.
Yes.
But I was looking at some of the tape. He ran his routing tree, like Kellen Moore. He didn't run he had a lot of guys in the same area. He didn't run like, okay, I'm going to have somebody go over the middle every time just in case my guys are locked up. It was ridiculous what he did. It really was. And then I see what is going on in Tampa Bay with Byron Leftwich. I see all over the league they're dialing up game plans, and this guy is running reverses after reverses. Like one was -8 yards, and let's run it again. Or and we talked about Turpin. They never got him involved, even with a little smoke screen. Nothing was working. The only body who had a good game, and it was annoying me because it was like catch. There was no run after catch. Was no run.
Well, they never.
There was no run. There's
at no point did they
no run out of catch with him.
Yeah, there's no point did they
you
try.
can get a third down guy, fine.
Yeah, at no point did they try to get Dak into a rhythm. That's the thing. He doesn't know how to do that either. There's certain plays that you can do, whether it's rollouts, whether it's something that just set itself up to where there's always going to be at least one person. It might be very shallow, but there's going to be somebody available. And I mean, just getting that going, getting him into a rhythm. No, I got this game
I thought
plan.
Mark was going to kill me because, well, I was Mark was going to kill me. I said, at this point, just put 5 wide receivers in and spread the damn field. This was when Dak was in the game. Just spread it, just run. Just
that's what they wanted to do.
But but then they were going with the run, and then they were being conservative, and penalty, run, and all the runs were working, Phil. It was just frustrating because then it got to a point where it was almost like Kellen was happy. He was like, "Wow, now we can't run," even though it was never really at a point where you can't run until probably halfway through the fourth quarter. But in his mind is, well, we got to throw the ball to get back in the game, and that was doom.
This is what happened. The reason why he really got to the pass more, all those penalties by Terrence Steele. It'd been plays that Tony Pollard broke out and ran for 20 yards. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then Terrence Steele holding. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
it was those definitely those flags right in the beginning of the drive. It wasn't like it was it just gets it. That's why the defense had to be on the field so much, is because it wasn't even like they got a drive going and then hit a flag and backed up and then punted. No, they just right off the bat just got that. It was backed up 1st and 20, 1st and 15. And you got a quarterback that wasn't going. You got an offensive coordinator that's not running. You got wide receivers that aren't making separation. So, I mean, as much as these guys are, good receiving core, they're not great, but it is a lot of their first games. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, a first live game that's actually hitting and the lights are on. The crowds are actually packed. So, I mean, you can see where some of them may be a little flustered and stuff. So, I mean, that's where you probably saw a lot in the playoffs last year with it being a young team. But I think going into this week with Cincinnati, obviously I would have thought with Dak Prescott being in the lineup, we would have bounced back and definitely give a beating to Cincinnati. And I think Cincinnati losing would have definitely been that way as well, too. So it would have been a hell of a clash to watch these two teams. When I go into it, who's the backup? Cooper Rush. You're going to assume that Cooper Rush is the backup, and that right there, I don't have the greatest feeling of being able to at least 3-3 of the next 6 games. So I mean, and you said it before, and I've heard it many times with different people. I Love Weed said it. If we can go 3-3, 3-4 in the next couple of games, and Dak gets back, this team definitely has a chance. I think Dak, doesn't have all that spotlight and all the pressure of, he's barely coming back and he has the excuse of that. That may relax him. I want to shift over to the defensive part. Let's get some little positive off this game. Micah Parsons, okay? Being held almost every single play, but still ends up with, 2 sacks? And a lot of pressures. I mean, it definitely should have been more sacks, and they didn't really move him. And a lot of people would jump on the scheme, you didn't move him, and that's the reason why. No, man, you got a guy that gets off 2 to 3 seconds, and you got a rookie tackle that was basically holding on for his dear life every single time. And so yeah, that's why you don't move him at that moment. So I think Dan Quinn was very smart to do that. It's just, other than D Law, the rest of the line just kind of wasn't there. I saw how Tampa kind of ran to the side a little bit to just avoid the defensive tackles and let them run, sideways. And so I saw the counter there. But when it comes to the rest of the defensive line, what do you guys think? How do you think they performed?
I think that DeMarcus Lawrence's performance was very upsetting. Like, we expect more from him. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the money he's been getting paid. I hate to throw money in the situation.
Well,
that's one of my pet peeves.
That's the world we live in. You have to.
Yeah, I hate putting money on. But DeMarcus Lawrence is getting paid top dollars to make these plays, especially when you have a rookie. I mean, well, he a second year. Come in your place and take your defense. Mm-hmm. Take the star away from you was the defensive star. Now he came in and he took over. And you just sitting there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like DeMarcus Lawrence, he was talking the talk. I seen the tweets, but I did not see him on the field.
Well, he started out hot. He did start out hot.
He started out hot.
Yeah, but then like everybody else. Yeah. Let me get a couple of these people here.
We got the chat.
I am with the win now link. Like the Rams did last year. Listen, man, I'm with you. I wish we would have spent our money. I want the guy in Buffalo. I think he would have been great with us. But Brady
would have had a hard time, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think Brady would have been. Yeah, it would have been ugly. But that made too much sense. Did you see Jerry and Steven walking off the up the tunnel? Yeah. You would have thought they didn't want to look at nobody. And then then I hear all the stupid questions. It's like, dude, I mean, you talk all this junk about this and that. You can't do that, man. It just can't. I love weed. Micah Skip. Yeah, I'm sure you guys know about.
I'm proud of
Micah Parsons skipped undisputed. Now, I'm in a group text with a couple of people, Mark being one of them, and he's very disappointed. Listen, man, I don't know the reasons why he skipped. Yeah, I don't know why he skipped. I don't want him there in the first place.
He disappointed in Micah?
Yeah, because Micah didn't show up. He's under contract to show up every Tuesday, which I understand. But
he just had
forget them. Whatever.
He was too busy bitching about his Madden rating.
That's what he more concerned.
You got that shot. You got that shot to the ribs, man. I was like, Von Miller's like, that should be illegal.
You guys.
What's that?
I don't know about you guys, and you can make it look however you want. He needs to rush the passer 9 out of 10 times. I don't want to see him drop. I know there's going to be times where he's going to drop. I know you're not going to line him up at the end every time.
Yeah.
But he needs to rush the passer. He is so special. I don't want to see him not rushing the passer.
Yeah.
Because when Brady, dude, that one time, like when the whole D line was just standing up, like kind of wandering around. Brady didn't know what the hell he was doing, and we got to him. That's what I mean. We need stuff like that, especially now that we're actually going to have to score points on defense probably for the next few weeks.
But why did they stand up?
Unless somebody gets their head out of their ass. I don't know.
It's like, why did they stand up? To throw Brady off, to throw the whole offense off. It's just something that Kellen Moore is not going to do. I mean,
I expected it more, actually. I was surprised they went in as... I know you can't blitz Brady all the time. I know you can't, but I expected more of like that.
You can't with Parsons because it worked. As soon as they started saying, let's just let Parsons go.
I love Weed says he had a dentist appointment. I said, if he brings a note, I wonder if he'll be excused from Undisputed.
Right.
I was thinking, I was telling, I was going into work. You know how you get those days where you're going to hear from the people that you know and stuff like that. So I was going into work, and the only thing that I was like, all right, I'm going to hear from people. But luckily, the people I work in the office with, all their teams lost as well, too. So it was kind of like, hey, what about yours as well? So when you're hearing all the crap talked, I was focusing, and I'm going to go back to it, but you hear a lot of these fans that jump on the fact, I told you, and I can understand, and I don't get upset when they, bitch and complain about Jerry and what they're doing, But when it comes to the talent that, they focus totally on the defense for the past 2 years. When you look at the free agency, when you look at the draft in general, I mean, you may have one or two people like a Jake Ferguson, a Tyler Smith that you're trying to bring on through the offense to try to be starters itself. But when you look at them, they really focus on the defense. So obviously, when you look at the offense is kind of hurting a little bit, and it needs to be, they needed to reload, and that's where, hey, if you're not doing it in draft, you need to do it in free agency. And now we're seeing, obviously, this team is all about reaction and not, preparing for the situation. We know Tyron Smith's going to be hurt. Were we prepared? No. Dak, I'm not saying that he's injury prone.
You got to be able to blend.
Not. Yes.
You got to be able to blend drafting with free agency. You're never going to hit on every draft pick. It's impossible. Even though we do a good job, you need to blend in the free agents. And I'm not talking cheap, not to be rude, but like the bottom of the barrel guys. It's okay to go out and get a blue chip guy every few years. I'm sorry, that's what you need to do. Just frustrating. Frustrating. Zeke had 10 carries for 52 yards.
Right.
Okay, that's 5.2 yards a carry. Why? I mean, why are we pulling him out for multiple series? I mean, there was
keep it going.
2 series. Just keep running the ball.
Fournette had 158 or something.
Yeah, exactly. I told you Fournette. Everybody was just calling me stupid. He's fat. I'm like, dude, they're gonna get the ball to Fournette, and we're gonna have to stop him.
Yeah, Link is talking about. Go ahead.
Oh no, what you were saying? No,
I was just commenting with Link. Link was saying about Pollard should line up in the slot. Yeah, we definitely agree. But go ahead, Cole.
Go ahead, man.
I would just, I just wanted to say this. We talk about weapons and what we need to have on the team, for us to be successful. Did y'all catch that game last night? Did y'all think the Broncos was going to lose to that Seahawks team? Because everybody wrote the Seahawks out. They got Geno Smith. They got DK Metcalf and Lockett.
Yeah, they got a pretty good, not a great team, but they need the quarterback. Obviously.
Not a great team, but
their defense.
I
get you.
Yeah, they were all right. You know what I'm saying? Let that happen, Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? Our fan base. We would have been like, man, Gino, we ain't gonna do nothing.
Listen, I was jealous of the coaching last night. That's what it looked like. Everybody can say whatever they want about what's his face for Seattle. But he's a hell of a coach. He gets his team fired up. I don't care who. He just gets these guys fired up. And you know what else that reminds me? Because we were expecting a great special teams. Wasn't me, but our special teams coverage unit played like ass.
They wasn't good last night. I mean, that night it wasn't good.
It wasn't good, right? And that was supposed to be. We're keeping all these guys from special team.
Yeah. Even right off the first bat. I mean, Turpin, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying. My thing. The coaching. The coaching got to do better, man. Put your players in the right position. All they did last night was really run the ball and hit the tight ends. You know what I'm saying? That's how they won the game. It was no flashes with DK Metcalf. He got a couple of catch boots.
It didn't seem like they missed Bobby Wagner at all. It seemed like they just replaced guys.
Right.
Yeah, number 50
they made it work.
Doing some stuff out there.
And guess what? The fans was involved.
Yeah. Speaking of the fans. Speaking of the fans, if anybody that threw something at Dak on the way out, they shouldn't be allowed at any more games. That's not a real fan to me. You're a piece of shit if you're throwing stuff at that man. Everything he's done for you
and the community.
Come on, man.
Everything.
That was horrible. They threw shit at him.
Yeah, that's horrible. But if they had anything to throw it, they should have thrown it at Jerry and Stephen Jones.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
go through the same company.
I'll put extra mustard. I don't even like mustard. I'll be coating and throwing it.
But I don't condone throwing stuff at people.
A clown boy.
If it was anybody, it should have been those two dudes, man.
Yeah, Mike, we were talking about that. He says Kellen Moore should be ashamed of the opposition calls his play calling trash and predictable. Yeah, I mean that's what Brian was saying here, was that San Francisco came out and was saying that they basically looked at last year's and that's what they ran it off of. And it just goes to show you that, Kellen Moore, we were hoping, hey man, maybe he'll mature and maybe he hasn't done anything. He's whipped out more plays that he thinks is amazing, and maybe it is at the right time. But again, when you're putting 2 reverses in the first drive as your game plan for that, oh yeah, they got a field goal out of it. It definitely wasn't because of those 2 plays. So.
When I see Kellen Moore, I think of Cop Pizzle when he says a geek.
That's a real one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, he don't even have any emotion. I'm sorry, dude. He's got to go. I don't know who's. I mean, he's got to go. We know he's not going now, but
I wish I could
he's
put.
like a fucking pencil neck geek.
I got to figure out how to put chats up here, but because we got Link down here says Kellen still wears foot pajamas.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Oh yeah. That's him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's got a binky too. He just don't pull it out. Yeah, he's in the back, or he sucks or something. Yeah, something. It was horrible. It was my worst nightmare. That was the longest. I don't know if you guys thought that it was the longest game in history to me. I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, Jesus, it's like a slow death. It was totally not what I expected. Now I expected our defense to do. I thought they'd be a little better, but in the end, they still kept them to 19 points. Our first drive was good, even though I was pissed because we ended up with a field goal. You can't do that. And we had some penalties, but I thought the worst player on the field was Steele, the right tackle. So I don't know that, but again, getting back to that, then you had the the trolls saying that you should have kept Lyle. Well, we had the Dallas. He has a bunch of TVs, but I was watching Steele. I was watching Lyle, and Lyle had a horrible game. He was getting owned, exactly. So I don't want to hear that either. So if Lyle was here, he wouldn't have done any better. But the Steele's got to be better. It's just you worried about the left side? That wasn't the problem.
Yeah, Tyler Smith was good.
Yeah,
I thought he did decent. So
there was a lot of different little flashes in here. Yeah. So you need a game manager when it comes to a defense like this. So we've seen people win this. I'm not saying that by any far when I say this next comment that these backup quarterbacks are taking us to a Super Bowl. But I have seen managers, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer. You've seen game managers win with a good defense. So I get excited about at least the defense will keep us in some of these games. When you look at the next couple, of course, we got the Bengals, which, I don't see a very good outcome with that just because whether you have Greer or whether you have Rush, can you put enough points on the board? And I think with the way that Burrow played, I think he might, definitely get a jump back. So when you look at what's after that? The Giants. Definitely a manageably winnable
I have
game.
the schedule here.
We can win that.
Yes, I want to know from Coles. Can you make out what the heck they're talking about with how many games he's going to miss? Because I've heard everything, and now the latest is they think it could be back inside of 4. There's some, it's not as bad. What is your opinion on that? And I'll rattle off the schedule after you. Yeah. I want to hear what you, because I'm confused. I don't know what.
Well, I was confused last night because I always heard 6 to 8 weeks. Then I went and, of course, Philly 500's channel pops up on my notifications.
And he said 4 years?
You know what I'm saying? He was yakking about 8 to 10. I said 8 to 10.
Well, yeah, remember, Drew Brees missed, 10 to 12 weeks? But that's what I'm saying. So what is it? Because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's they definitely said 4 to 6. Tom Pelissero actually broke that this morning. Then Ian Rappaport also doubled on it too.
Now what's the rule on the IR? If he went on IR, he had to miss 6. Is that what that is?
Yeah,
it's 6, right?
You can miss a minimum of 4 games in the preparation to return.
So
they're not putting him on IR, so they expected him to come 6.
That's crazy. All right, well they're home against the Bengals this week. As much as I want them to win, we shall see. Maybe this is a game that totally surprises us, but I don't expect them to win this week. But I've seen stranger things happen.
Exactly.
At the Giants, that's winnable.
That's winnable.
It's Monday Night Football, so there you go. But
we go to New York, a lot of freaky stuff happened out there.
Then after that,
and then we're home against the Commanders.
Winnable.
We're home against Washington.
We can get Washington.
Yeah. So that's 3 games there. So if it's inside, then I don't think it's going to happen. Then it'll be at the Chargers, and then at the Eagles on Sunday. I think it's Sunday.
The
They
Rams. I think we got the Rams. That's what you're talking
about.
about. We go against the Rams, not
No.
the Chargers.
Oh, is it the Rams? Then yeah. It's the Rams, and then it's back to back at the Rams, and then at the Eagles. So the games 4 and 5 of Dak not being there.
Yeah,
and then we're home against the Lions, home against the Bears, and then the bye.
Yeah, and so you would think that maybe he would be back
Well,
by then.
you got.
Go ahead.
Yeah. You can also say that by that time, we expecting Jaron Curse to come back. We expecting Dak to come back.
Yeah, even guys
James Washington
that you're not excited about. And McGovern. I didn't think I was going to miss McGovern. But it's one of those
if
things.
They do the Tyler Smith and
if
they do the Tyler Smith and Jason Peters, if they do it like that, they might be like, if it works, they might like, Gunnar McGovern, you just go ahead and sit right here just for a second. We working with something right now.
Yeah, this might be the blessing that allows this all to happen.
But Mark Hutton had asked if Michael Gallup's going to be back this week. I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
I don't think this is the week you bring him back. Maybe the following week.
I would say maybe the Giants.
But I don't think this week.
Yeah, I would think maybe the Giants.
And then he follows up with.
Then James Washington probably should be back.
The only team not to score a touchdown.
Yeah, that's what Angelica was saying.
Dallas was the only team not to score a touchdown. Yeah, that's crazy. But that's like
it's one of those.
When
things
we're bad,
like,
we're epically bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. They don't disappoint by a little bit. You don't squeak those out, but yeah, they definitely break your hearts. So I mean, and it kind of one of those things where, hey man, you're going into it, you're feeling this rush of this game, and you're like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. How could this get any worse? And then it gets worse, and so it kind of you wish you kind of retract what you were saying in the first and second quarter about Dak in his throws, because you would definitely like to have him back for some of these games. So it's interesting to see where they're going to go. Are they going to bring Ben DiNucci back?
Hey Cowboys, what's up?
Are they going to bring Nucci back onto the practice squad?
No. Listen, I want to bet. I don't. Listen, man. I don't. If they do that, then they're really just punking us. I can't see that. There better be something else happening, but I wouldn't be surprised. What do you think, Coles? Is he coming back?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, that would be something they would do. He knows the system.
It would be, but I don't even know if they're gonna bring in another quarterback.
At this point,
they probably might have no choice but to do it. I guess since you're elevating.
I definitely don't see a trade. I mean, I definitely don't see a trade. If you're going to throw away this season, then you just bring in Kaepernick and Antonio Brown, and let's just run this circus.
We're not throwing nothing away.
Just go just go
We ain't throwing shit away.
I think it's very manageable. I think it's very manageable in the sense of being able to come back. The backup just needs to be able to manage and let the defense do its thing. Run the ball. Do it like West Coast Cowboys tells you. Run the fucking ball.
Mike Aldana. He wants to know what the Mike Aldana wants to know what the goal is with our offense going forward.
Well, I mean, the game
probably a dozen sweeps, maybe 6 runs and 15 punts. I don't know.
One thing I'm jumping on is the run the ball thing, and some of these things within the offense or within this team has been more kind of forcing the situation, where, okay, you want to put Tyler Smith inside, but Tyron Smith goes down, so it forces you to put Tyler Smith out there, and you end up having a good situation. Maybe the whole fact that, you're right, Cole, that, putting, McGovern getting hurt and maybe possibly having to put maybe Smith back into guard, and while you put Peters into left tackle, will all of a sudden solve a problem that you thought you solved before, because obviously these guys... Go ahead.
Smith ain't leaving tackle. I'm telling you right now. They're not moving Tyler Smith.
I hope not.
Not happening. I'm just saying.
Even with the situation of Peters coming in?
Oh, he's hardly ever played left guard, so I would be surprised.
They can put him at tackle and then put.
I think they may put Peters at right tackle. From what I'm hearing, if Steele keeps playing like this, he's played both tackle spots. I don't know. Your guess is as good as
It's not
mine,
a
but if
bad-
I'm telling you, I think he's probably gonna.
We don't know what to predict from these
Yeah,
guys.
I think he's probably gonna play left guard. He ain't gonna love it, but that's still better than what they have now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. I think as long as he doesn't do horribly and he stays healthy, I don't think you're gonna see Tyler Smith move from that left tackle spot. He was drafted to play left tackle. It just was sped up with Tyron's injury.
Well,
Yeah.
my thing is why I felt like he probably would stick to left guard and they put Peters at left tackle is because they played Tyler Smith at left guard the whole offseason.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm just telling you what I think they're gonna do, and that's probably what they're gonna do. But I don't know because I heard Jerry say, "Well, he could play right tackle," which I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, like you said, we don't. They so unpredictable. We
They
expect
say everything. Yeah,
he's doing the
Yeah.
same play
Yeah.
calling than last year. That he
Brooklyn
got exposed.
Joe pull Romo off
Brooklyn
the golf
Joe, I
course.
love it.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
it.
it.
That's it. Well, we got Romo right here. He's in South Florida.
Yeah, they are retired. Oh, that is hilarious. Yeah, I don't know, man. We got to pay. What is he getting? Like 25 mil a year over there at CBS.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I would stick with that gig. I wouldn't go behind that offensive
Right.
line.
Oh yeah.
You know,
But
yeah.
No,
But,
but
I'm just
go
hoping
ahead.
Dak didn't. I'm just hoping, like I said, that whole pop in the foot, he didn't look good. Maybe like whatever's going on, it'll give him some time to clear that up. I'm hoping. He just didn't look good at all. He didn't look good, even with his easy passes. Didn't look good.
He was playing a mediocre offense. Nobody looked good in that game.
Yeah,
I feel like he's gonna be fine. I honestly feel that they just got to run the ball, man. They got to put him in position, especially when Michael Gallup and James Washington come back. I feel like it's gonna be a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? We just got to run the ball most of all. We got to run the ball. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that going forward is exactly it. So go ahead, go.
I was just about to ask Brian, hey, how was it at Marks? Like, how was the screens? Like, I was
Dude,
trying
it was an experience. I had been there before, but not during the game. And we had DMV. It was basically me and him. Mark, he's the hardest working guy I've ever been around. And I'm telling you, I'm not just talking YouTube. I'm talking everything. He literally runs around his house. He's, I'm sorry, Tracy, but he's the main cook of the house. He does everything. I mean, yeah, he is amazing. He's very generous. He gets, I wish he wouldn't have to deal with some of the BS that he does, but it was cool, man. You would love it because, like you're sitting at the set and you have all the TVs. You have my guy E2 behind me. He was killing me, man, the whole game. He was just sitting there just saying it. And Mark was apologizing to me because I'm about 3-hour drive. He's like, I'm sorry you came down for this. I'm like, Mark, I could have been home watching that crap. I'd rather be here. At least it wasn't as bad. To me, it was a great time. I would say that, I would advise because I know Phil wants to go down there. It was a good time. It really was. I'll be there being more often because I'm so close. But dude, it was a trip.
Yeah,
but,
he invited me over. He invited me to come by.
Yeah. It's a trip, man. It really is. I mean, Michael Anthony Fitness is a trip too because he's just emotional. Not that he don't know the game because he does. I don't. I'll be nice. He knows the game, but man, he just wants to say refs or this or that. The refs robbed us. It's definitely. I mean, an experience. So I would say,
seemed like
man,
it's a good crowd to watch the game.
With
that's
DMV,
what makes it so nice to watch.
Yeah,
Mark
in the back.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, for somebody who's played the game, he has some interesting takes on the game. I usually don't agree, but that's what makes it fun. It's like me, I have very little play. I mean, my older brother, he's played college. I know the game in and out, but I haven't played much other than, very low level. So, but a guy like Mark, who's played on the same line with Charles Haley, he knows the game. Make no mistake, especially when it comes to interior line play. So when he talks about that, please listen because he knows his shit.
Sure.
But it was fun. It was fun. Definitely.
Yeah,
Gina Thorne,
I was
smash them
jealous
likes.
of,
Thanks,
yeah,
Gina.
I was definitely jealous of the food that they had going on. He throws out that sub so we can all
Yeah.
see, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can almost
Let me
taste
just
it.
tell you something. I never saw a sub get eaten that quick.
That
It
thing
was
got
gone.
destroyed.
I had one. I didn't eat that much because, well, I did have but dude, it was like this. It was thick. It was like that. I mean, I had
Yeah.
a nice slab, but I didn't really eat that much because I was just trying
As
to
he's
stay
talking
awake.
about it, he has
It,
heartburn. Like that's
well, yeah, right. Yeah, well,
yeah,
that's from the dinner. That's from the
like
leftovers.
Cuban.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it, yeah, it was a
Hey,
good time, man. It was
I
a
can
good
only
time,
imagine how fast that comment feed was going, man.
Yeah.
dude. I've never seen nothing like it because I think he has like a 42-inch TV now.
Yeah.
I it was like from where I
Just to
was
see the
sitting, I
chat.
couldn't quite read it, but it was just spinning, and
I was trying
I
to
don't
get
know
your
how
attention,
Mark.
man.
I don't know how Mark was able to read any of it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I was trying to get your attention when you were sitting.
Dude, I couldn't
When
see
Mark
it.
was going, I was like, I already know he can't see us.
Yeah, you know what? I would have been better off looking at my phone, but
Right.
yeah, I know. You know, that's the one thing I would say though. That was the first time I've ever had to watch a Dallas game, and 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 I would lose track of
What
I
was
was
happening?
counting on DMV because he was sitting right next to the screen and Mark. But if Mark got away, sometimes I wouldn't be paying. Because I could, from where I sat, I couldn't read it. So that just comes with actually live streaming during the game and having to make a comment. So it's interesting. But I was
it's
sitting in the
hard.
wrong seat for that. So
Right.
It's hard to keep.
No, I was trying to
everybody
get my positive vibes.
dude, I was trying everything.
I was trying
Michael.
to.
Yeah, well, Michael went inside and Dallas started doing good. I'm like, he opened the door. I'm like, nah, you got to stay back in the closet, dude. Sorry, you just got to go back in the closet.
No,
wherever
but it
you
was
were.
before. It was before the game. After all the opponents in our Division One.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking, and it was DMV and E2 Blue, and I saw the look on their face, and he was like, "Man, I can't
Yeah.
stand that we got to have the last game. Why can't we get our games?"
Yeah, I hate that too, especially. But I felt bad for the Giants, so I actually was rooting for them a little bit. And then to look back, what am I, an idiot? We lose, and now
Right, exactly.
I was like, I don't mind. I mean, Carson Wentz, I didn't think he played a good game. Then you look at the stats, and like, okay, he threw 4 touchdowns. We don't have a touchdown, so that was pretty good. But yeah, it was one of those deals where that's what normally happens. Yeah, everybody else wins, and we're the last game, and everybody gets to make fun of us.
Right.
So whatever.
It's all fun, man.
It is, but it was rough because it's time for us to win.
It is,
Isn't
it is.
it? I
And
thought it
especially when we got a
was.
defense.
Hopefully, it is.
Yeah. So
So
I'm with
how do
you.
y'all feel about the Bengals?
The Bengals, I think they have
My
a good
bad,
team.
Phil. What you saying?
No, I was gonna move on for the next game as well. So I think I was gonna jump on to a different thing, different take of it. But I'm with you in the sense that they got a good quarterback, at least a guy that's playing and not their backup. The line's a little iffy. Their defense is pretty good. That game that they had, it didn't seem like they really wanted to win it or lose it. So it's just, I look at
Very
them being
talented
hungry.
team.
Go ahead.
Offensive line isn't that good, and I think if Dak was there, I think we would probably beat him. But I'm not predicting a win. I think Jamar Chase is going to be a little too much mixing out of the backfield. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't feel good. But these are the games we somehow win. So
yeah, I would go when I focus on it. I look at the fact that can we move the ball? How much did we move the ball with Cooper Rush? And I'm just not I think a couple of years ago, I was definitely on the Cooper Rush bandwagon. I thought he was a better backup than what we had before. He showed some flashes in the preseason. I was like, okay, so it's a guy that can come in and manage a game. And so then all of a sudden, Dak was out, and he had to come in for the Minnesota game. And they won the game, which is something when you look at what they could possibly do. But now, I didn't see any kind of flashes. I didn't feel excitement. I didn't feel that, okay, we're behind. He can drive it down right here, every single drive. I didn't have that feeling that he could actually move the ball. And I think that's where we get a little bit flat. And then when you look at Kellen Moore, I don't think he can game plan correctly to kind of make up for the shortcomings that a guy like Cooper Rush is going to bring. What do you think, Cole?
As far as Cooper Rush, I'm not.
No,
I rewatched that Minnesota Vikings game today.
it was a miracle.
And I was like,
Yeah, not impressive.
It was a miracle.
The pieces we had with the Cedric Wilson, with Amari Cooper, they stepped up their game for Cooper Rush.
That's what I was telling Mark. I was telling Mark because Mark was like, I'm like, Mark, the ownership is under the impression that they already went all in last year and they didn't get a playoff win. And if you look at it from that perspective, I understand we had some injuries throughout the year, but we didn't have any long-term, other than Gallimore at the beginning of the season, we didn't have any devastating long-term injuries. We were relatively healthy. Obviously, we losing Tyron here and there, but it wasn't horrible. You know what I mean? It was a game here, a game there, and we had all those pieces, and we didn't do shit. So that's what the ownership is thinking, that they went all in last year, and this is why we got to look at this year. It's stupid because you're wasting Dak, you're wasting Zeke.
And I think you're wasting him on Kellen
even
Moore.
Though he's not there.
Yeah, I think you're wasting on Kellen Moore because
Angelica Barone's talking about the Giants fan that was sleeping behind me. Yeah, that was Rashid. Rashid leaves and his team wins. He's not even up the street with that.
So he was gone already when he
he was.
I know he was.
He
should have came back.
Rashid, I was kind of rooting for him, but I did not think we would have. I didn't think we were going to do what we did on Sunday night. I honestly was confident. Now anything can happen. You can lose by a field goal. The last thing I thought was going to happen is what happened. That we weren't going to move the ball. We were going to score 3 points. The Dak was going to get hurt for 6 games, hopefully and less. Dude, it was just bad. Went to unbelievably bad. But we have to turn the page. We need to somehow get a win. That's all. Get a win.
And I just saw a lot of the offensive problems that we had in the San Francisco game kind of just creep its way back into this one. So not playing the offensive starters through the preseason, I think this is what we were all kind of dreading was, Dak, he came out last year and he destroyed it coming off of an injury itself. But when you look at what the last game he meaningfully had compared to, the first meaningful game he was going to have this season, it was almost a very similar performance. So, I blame a little bit on him in the sense of just, performance issues in general. But when you look at Kellen Moore, I think, again, San Francisco, running that whole game plan. And then, of course, you got the Buccaneers coming out with Devin White saying that, they're looking at last year's game plan. I think, will that change? Will McCarthy at some point just say, look, man, I need to take charge of this thing? Obviously, with Jerry Jones and them not, do they have job security? I think so. They don't have to worry about getting fired. So if they believe in a guy, they can just leave him in there until, their sales go down. And I think that's the only way they really wake up,
Yeah.
Aiden Moe. Hey, Mark. Aiden Moe. I think that's my friend's little kid. He's an Eagles fan. But I will say he loves him some Mark Holmes. So
nice.
Aiden Morales, shout out, my man. Let's see, Gina. Yeah, here you go. He's bringing in Gina Thorne. What's up? There he is.
What's up, Gina?
There you go, Aiden Morales. Forward. What's up, my man? You got to say hi to me. Yeah, Mark's always here. Come on, that's not right. I let you swim in my pool, kid. So, what do we think that Kellen Moore is going to draw up this week? I mean, what do you think the game plan is? And how long before McCarthy says, give me the chart, and you see McCarthy calling plays, because I wouldn't be putting up with that too much longer,
Yeah.
What's the game plan going to be, and how long of a leash does he have? That's what I want to know, because it shouldn't be long.
Man, Kellen Moore got a very long leash because from the conference the interview, seems to me Mike McCarthy don't even know the playbook.
Dude,
he don't even understand the playbook to take over the plays, man. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what his game plan is. but he needs to run the ball. He needs to do 12 personnel. He needs to stick to it. We don't have the weapons we did last year to pull off some of the plays that he has. Like that reverse.
He's against tall personnel. He's against it. He ran 3 friggin' plays with, I believe it was 3. Mark can back me up because he was running the numbers, but I think it was 3.
No, he didn't run. He rarely ran 12 personnel. At first, I seen him say, "Okay, we're doing something." And then he got away.
I didn't even see Ferguson on the field. I thought we were going to see Ferguson on one side.
He's 87.
And Schultz on the other.
87 now. Is that so? You may be still.
I like them better when it's in the 40s.
See, now you want the 48 back. Yeah. See how it got hooked on it.
Angelica, I agree. Leave the trick plays alone.
Yeah. When I look at Kellen Moore,
those trick plays only work is when you're running is your playbook winning. Is working. Yeah. That's when they work. When you're desperate, you lose 8-10 yards.
I saw somebody make
that was a desperate play call.
Yeah, I saw somebody make a comment, and I really liked it. We're in the sense that they're saying, when Kellen Moore designs a play, I would like him to design a play that went north and south, and not east and west. I mean,
well, that's what I was saying. There was his routes weren't good. Yeah. He was running shit here, and he was running smoke screens. There was nothing over the middle of the field at any depth, like against each other. It was just ridiculous, is what it was. It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed. Let's see. Kellen said, if you have penalties, we get someone who don't look. Let's see. Yeah. Now, who is our? Well, yeah, I can't understand that.
No, he's saying basically, if he's Kellen Moore saying that, hey, if you're gonna have penalties, we're gonna get rid of you and get somebody else in here that can. So since he can't call play, can we get somebody else to come in here? Oh, no, I know who used to be.
Like, I'm only saying that because if someone happens.
Ain't Bone Foster's the offensive?
He needs to worry about special teams. Because if they ever pull the trigger on McCarthy, then you could bring up Quinn. You could have Joe Witt, and it'll be the D coordinator. I'm just trying to think who's the offensive coordinator. Who would that be? I don't. That's the thing. Would it be the quarterback's coach? I mean, he's.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. I can't think of the guy's name.
That's
but yeah. Yeah.
He suck at being a quarterback.
Yeah, so
we need to get John Kitna back in.
That's what it is.
Prescott was doing great.
Broadus brought that up. I did see that today. He wants Dak to have Kitna back.
Yes,
and that's a big deal. That is a big deal.
Shoot, me, Boss Cowboy, Law Nation, we was all banging on the table for that. You know what I'm saying? Kitna need to come back.
Yeah, I think he's coaching a high school team, but still,
I'm sure he wouldn't mind coming.
Yeah, I'm sure they could step up, right?
Right.
Yeah. Mark Hutton. I don't think Kellen Moore be here next year. I believe he'll go down to his college roots. I think he didn't get the job at his college alma mater. I don't think he got the job. I think Boise, they made it sound like he turned it down, but from when I was there, and he wasn't offered a job.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm afraid that the Dak injury might give him an excuse, and that's what I don't want. I don't want him to have the excuse. Well, he didn't have the starting offensive quarterback, and then he gets a pass for the year.
I would say that injuries are part of the game now, Phil. So
he's supposed to come back, right?
But them, they love to give him any little excuse. He's like, well, he had a doctor's note, so he didn't have to play this, call offensive plays this year.
Well, just think of this, too. Everybody wants to talk about the division after 1 week. Let's not forget that Washington struggled to beat the worst team in the league, Jacksonville. They got to win. So a win's a win. I'm not here to say, well, they beat Jacksonville. No, you won the game.
Yep.
But let's just couch it by who did you beat?
The number one
Giants,
pick in the draft.
had the best win. I think the Giants had the best win of the weekend. They went on the road in Tennessee. You can say whatever you want. That's a tough place to play. That's a tough place to play. And they won. Ugly, I don't care. If Barkley looks like he's back. He looked back and he looked explosive. The Eagles held on to beat Detroit.
Yeah.
And this defense that we're hearing about
looked bad.
Gave up a shit ton of yards. It wasn't great.
And I'm not saying,
I think they could lock us up because we don't have any outside receivers. But they
better,
couldn't stop the run.
We better beat the Eagles. With a run defense like that, Kellen Moore should be running plays all throughout that game.
Not if he runs 3 ends around and then punts. I know. We should at least split. I don't know that we're going to win in Philly, but we need to at least split. But I want the first one, and then
they need the same thing they did against the Chargers last year.
I just hope this isn't one of those years where, like it was like a few years ago, where we got a top 5 pick, even though we weren't that bad a team. I don't want that. We need to turn this around.
Having a great season whenever we do get them high.
I know, but like we keep saying that, and it's like the years keep going by. We need to turn it around this year, and we need to win a division, or I don't care how we get in the playoffs. We need to get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
let's get hot.
A path.
That's what I'm holding my hope up.
Yeah, there's definitely a path. I mean, it's all possible. I mean, you look at what the Giants were able to do. There were some teams that, there's always teams that you see that are beaten with a backup quarterback. And there are other people who are also sustaining some injuries. I mean, you look at, for example, the Patriots. They have to deal with a quarterback injury as well. I mean, so there's definitely, you'll see some guys kind of dropping each week. And I think that's where you'll see the conditioning and what they don't do in the offseason kind of come more into play. And so there are some freak accidents that happen. I think that's what you see with Dak hitting the guy on the helmet. So, I mean, I think there's always a path to actually, win. It's just whether the backup, who are they going to put in? How long will they stick with Cooper Rush until they put Greer in? Will they bring DiNucci back? Will they bring in another quarterback out of nowhere? Will the Kaepernick be of finally get a chance and have his circus here? So, I mean, there's a lot to see what happens here in the next couple of weeks. But I like the fact that they're not putting Dak on the injury reserve. So it does give you a little bit of hope that he can come after a month. So, I mean, to think that he's going to come back in 4 weeks, I mean, that's to come out and say that.
Just
I think
for thinking that it was.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be one of them deals where if we do get some wins, it'll go to 6 weeks.
This is what that
works.
This is what I think. I do trust the Cowboys doctors, man. Like he's been known to make players sit out until they're fully ready to get on the field. Remember last year when we was hoping Dak Prescott would have came back for that Vikings game, and they tried him out, and he said, "No, he's not ready." Put Cooper Rush in. If he says that Dak Prescott's ready, I will trust him because I trust him. He's one of the best. So, and I'm like, I want to know what kind of fracture that was for him to come back in 3 weeks, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're
Brooklyn Joe.
They're very like, they're very confident not to put him on IR. So I'm like, if they not putting him on IR,
I don't know. Obviously, but we're getting sucked down that rabbit hole where they must know something. They must have had a good game plan going into the game the other day. They must watch the tape and know that we need to run more 12 personnel. No, they must not. But I agree. I agree.
Medical right here. This the
they
doctor,
have good doctors, and I agree. But my lord,
unless they put a bionicle hand on them or something.
So we got Mike in the chat. He says,
"Let's see here.
Despite Jack's injury, we're going to expect to have a good start to the season based on the strength of the schedule." And I think that was what I was thinking about earlier, and I definitely agree with Mike. There is that even with Dak in the lineup, we were questioning what these first two, because obviously these were two teams from the past 2 Super Bowls. So their teams were still somewhat built, even though, obviously teams lose people and gain people. But for the most part, these 2 teams were previous Super Bowl contenders. So, for a hell of a beginning of the schedule. And then obviously things tapered off. So when you looked at the Philadelphia Eagles, we knew they were going to have an easy schedule going into a harder schedule. So I think you're still going to see that. It's just whether, does the defense clamp down for the Eagles, and the offense doesn't all rely on Jalen Hurts running the ball. So, I mean, if he's constantly going to be running every single game, I think that's going to be something that's going to really sneak up on him at some point. It just takes one good hit. We all know Robert Griffin's story, and Brian commenting, it reminds him a lot of there because he doesn't trust that the receiver may catch the ball or that he's going to get the ball there. So his automatic reaction is to run the ball. So when you see that and you see the strength of their schedule, that a lot of stuff's going to change. Washington, Brian brings up a great point. Jacksonville, man. They barely squeaked it by with Jacksonville.
Oh, listen, a win and I mean, like if we're gonna dig into it, we got to be honest. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They should have beat them. They were. I mean,
They beat teams, except for the Giants, they beat teams that they were supposed to beat. They should have blown it. Well, Washington, but the Eagles, I'm putting this on the Eagles. All those moves you made. And you let
their defense did not look good. It did.
Nah, check this out. Now these Eagle content creators like Philly 500 are saying, hey, those Lions, I think they're a little bit better than we think. Because they got so much, they trying to boost their team up to be like, okay, we got a great team.
So they have
the Lions are good too. Don't sleep on the Lions. I was like, nah, the Lions did not look good. Y'all let them in the game because they were running the ball on y'all.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a blowout after the Lions got up and then the Eagles scored the next 3 drives. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but yet they couldn't do it. They let them back in the game, running the ball, basically.
And they play the Vikings on Monday night. I mean, the Vikings they have real weapons.
I think that should say a lot.
I'm just going to say this right now: that Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL. I'm sorry. Well, he's up there. He's not 1, he's 2, he's not 2, he's 3. But my man was open. Everybody in the building knew he was getting the ball, and he was open, making huge plays. So either it was the worst defense ever, or that was crazy.
I kind of want to give it more to himself. Like he was doing really well because that defensive secondary is pretty good for the Eagles. I'm not going to take that away from them, but he was definitely like Cup. Like he was just going out and they're like, I'm going to throw it to you, and he would just do it.
But if they run defense want to improve, man, Dalvin Cook is going to have a great game, and Justin Jefferson is going to have a great game because they're going to try to stack the box to stop Dalvin Cook, and Justin Jefferson and Allen Thielen going to have a party. Because Slay is still good. He's up there in age, but Bradbury. Man,
he had a pick 6. The ball fell on his lap. Yeah,
he had a pick 6 on the Lions.
Yeah, I know. I'm just telling you what they're gonna say. Well, you had a pick 6. But he should have scored on that.
I'm ready for this one. I'm ready for that. I don't know if I told y'all, but I got a bet going on with Philly 500 and a couple of other Eagle content creators. If I win, both of the bet is basically whoever wins the division. You know what I'm saying? The loser has to come on their channel with the Cowboys gear or the Eagles gear. Positive about the Cowboys. I said, hey, I will even wear y'all. I would wear if I have to wear Eagles gear, I would do it, and I would sing y'all stupid song.
You're gonna wear anything. Wear Reggie White or Jerome Brown.
Yeah. I'm gonna do. I would. That's it. But I could have backed out the bet today, but I said no. I'm gonna stick to it, man. They gave me a pass. And I said, no, I'm going to stick to it because I got a good feeling we're going to turn the tables around, man. And I was like, hey, y'all could have gave me an excuse, but I'm going to still take it. So, I'm into this deep. I might have to eat crow in the end of the season, but we will see, man. I got faith in it, man. I feel like we can still turn this around.
I do too.
We just need to run the ball.
I mean, and it goes, again, a big defensive thing. I think Kellen Moore can take a lot from Dan Campbell's book there, that you were able to come back and make a game by running the ball, especially when you have a guy like Zeke that was running 5 yards to carry, and you just kind of pull away from it, even though the game wasn't swung wide open. I mean, the defense was stopping Tampa Bay almost every single time.
Zeke's the type of guy where he gets better as the game goes on. So if he was getting a 5.2 at a clip, with only 10 carries. If we would have been maintained and be able to get a touchdown and kept it close, he would have had a big game. But we got away from it. And Pollard played, I want to say, back-to-back series, and you saw what happened when he has the pass block. I like Pollard. Pollard's good for what he is. You can play special teams. You can be. I don't mind giving him every third series. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, give him every third series, but that's it. If it's third down and you have to pass the ball, either have them both in, and you're gonna have to keep Zeke in the block, or you can't keep him in the block. He can't do it.
Yeah,
he's gonna hurt himself. Is what he's gonna do. He looked ugly doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
It did not.
I'm looking
good.
at the Eagles schedule.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, my bad. I'm just looking at the Eagles schedule, and I see the Eagles run into a hard brick wall around.
That's what I'm saying. In general, they have that.
No, I mean, yes, I see some teams that can really put a hurt on them. I mean, they got the Vikings.
Yeah,
Cardinals.
That's what we gotta hope. We gotta hope that everybody stays close, and then we gotta. I really do. It's just listen. We're all fans first.
Yeah.
I have to. It's like a mourning process. I need the time to recover. I can't jump right in and go. Now we're good because you can't tell me that you thought that after watching that. I needed. I use my brain and go. It's
I'd have
not
probably
this
been
bad,
on
Brian.
here just
It
like,
ain't this bad.
I don't know what I'd have been doing. Like,
I was gonna do a reaction video today. I was gonna do a video today, but I got busy. Just something, just all right. The people, I calmed down. This is what we got to look forward to. And then we decided to come on here, which was good. So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate y'all having me on for sure, man.
Yeah, no problem. We're gonna come back
together.
on. It feels really good. It feels real natural.
It's good having three of us. So.
I just gotta learn not to cut you guys off so much. I'm trying to balance that.
Oh no! Hey,
it's a work in progress, Phil.
Right.
I try and give like a slight pause, then jump in, and then like tonight, me and you were doing that together, so we're kind of hit. But that's all right, man. It is what it is. We're like Mark, broke ass media.
Gotta represent. Gotta represent. Mark.
Try doing live streams for Eagles.
Yeah, man. You can't troubleshoot until it happens. That's the thing. Yeah, you can't troubleshoot till it happens. I've noticed that a lot with different channels. I just smirk. I'm like, yep, I know what that is. But okay,
that's
before we break off,
because we're people who make it look easy.
Yeah, man. There's some definitely guys that do. And I'm like,
again.
But anyways, so we're gonna be back on Saturday, probably 7:00. We're gonna try to stick to that. Try to get it right around that time. I think we're kind of just trying to find that balance as well too. We'll bring some people on. We're talking about the Bengals game coming up and what the Dallas Cowboys can look at. Even some of them, hopefully the roster moves. You never know. They were mentioning in the chat obviously before with Gallup having his activity. We're thinking that he's going to be more back for the Giants game, but you never know with some of that activity that goes along. So Cole, let people know where they can find you if they haven't already.
Yeah. Y'all can find me at Cole's Cowboys on YouTube and Twitter. Cole's Cowboys.
And Gametime Bryan.
You'll have to do a live. We'll have to come on your live.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm more than happy to have y'all guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Definitely. But anyways, Brian, where can they find you now that they can't find you under your old previous name? Where do you hang out?
Yeah, well, it's Gametime Bryan, man. It's Gametime Bryan. I'm just now getting into my own page, but I'll still me and Phil are still gonna do our thing, and I'm really just getting my page just to do some smaller stuff, more like quick reaction stuff. But yeah, we're locked in together on our Saturday show, and whenever we can. So at the end, we're still both work full time, and this isn't our job. So we're just passionate Cowboys fans, and we love doing it. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys honestly stopping by. A little jumped in there. When I do these ones reaction-wise, I definitely want to do it within a Monday or Tuesday, a couple of days from the games itself. So even if we're feeling emotional about the losses or where we're going in a trajectory or whether it's going up and getting excited, I definitely want us to give that voice, and hopefully I can have Cole come back throughout the season as well and kind of give his intake, outtakes, and his goofiness about what this team is doing and what the Jerry Jones family is just... what those crazy bastards are up to. But anyways, I appreciate everybody coming along. Let me finish it out. Like always, I'm Primetime Phil, Cole's Cowboy, and of course, Gametime Bryan. I appreciate you guys coming through.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you.
And that is why we need to triumph through video.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!